Yeah, what's good everybody? Today I want to touch on a recent tweet that's caused some controversy with the Fallout fans. Now I don't usually get into social media and stuff, matter of fact I avoid social media like the plague. But this one caused enough conversation for me to hear about it, and matter of fact I think it's an interesting discussion. If you don't know Chris Avellone, he worked for Interplay in the 90s, being one of the key writers and designers for Fallout 2. This guy contributed a lot to the setting of that game. He then co-founded Obsidian, working big titles like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, and was also the senior designer in Fallout New Vegas, did some of the writings for that game, and was the lead writer in the DLCs Old World Blues, Dead Money, and Lonesome Road. And by the way, f*** you if you don't like Dead Money. So this guy ain't a nobody, especially within the context of Fallout. And why am I telling you all this? Well, recently Chris Avellone tweeted out that he doesn't think Bethesda fully gets Fallout, and matter of fact, they don't care either way. I'll read you the full tweet right here. So he says, and I quote, "I don't think Bethesda hates Fallout, they just don't fully understand its roots and arguably don't care. They own the franchise and they just want to do their spin on Fallout and make that the norm." He then goes on to say, "This usually translates into colourful shallow theme park, in brackets with some interesting DLC exceptions like Far Harbour, Point Lookout, and I was one of those who liked the Pit. Still, theme parks are fun for some folks, so if people enjoy it, that's fine with me." And then he says, "As for me, I don't hate Bethesda. There are things they do well, in brackets open world exploration, and there are things they do badly, telling linear stories in open world games and their inability to understand how to use a speech skill. But every developer has their pros and cons." So that's the tweet right there, and honestly, it's hard to argue with that. I think Chris is 100% right. I don't think he's being disrespectful or any other stuff. I think he's right on the money. Bethesda really doesn't get Fallout at times, and here's the thing, he makes it clear that he ain't hating on Bethesda. Matter of fact, he shares the same sentiment as me, in that Bethesda are good at what they do, and I really like Bethesda Fallout games. And Chris says himself that there's things he really likes about Bethesda, but storytelling within the Fallout universe ain't always one of them. When he describes Bethesda's Fallout as a theme park, I mean, I couldn't say it any better. I think that's a great comparison. Things in Bethesda's Fallout just happen, and they just exist, and quite often the only reason is to nail in that 50s style and nothing more to it. It feels like a theme park attraction. But either way, it's opened up a lot of discussion online whether or not Chris Avellone's tweet was fair, or is he just bitter, etc. I don't think he's bitter at all. He wasn't hating on Bethesda, he just has an opinion on a video game, and unfortunately most gamers are fat virgin who can't take that. Now what made me laugh is some fools online acting like this guy's irrelevant, you know, what does he know kind of thing, and obviously that's dumb. This guy's opinion is somewhat relevant. It's not like this some random guy on Twitter, this is someone that massively built that original vision. And yeah, I want to make clear that even between Fallout 1 and 2 there are big differences in tone, but still they were both building towards the same thing, and the second game heavily in line with the first. But back to the tweet, and yeah, Bethesda is really not interested in trying to make a Fallout game in line with the original vision, and obviously that's not to say you can't expand on the world, but it definitely feels like Bethesda just want to do their own thing, especially now with the TV show and Fallout 76 getting a resurgence in players. In fact, with Fallout 5, I think they're going to make another Fallout 76. And they'll get away with it as well, because yeah, us hardcore fans are going to kick off and whatnot, but we are in the minority, yeah? The majority of players now are going to want another Fallout 4 or another Fallout 76, and now you've got even more normies who came over from the show, they don't get Fallout, and that's the thing that makes me not want to get too hyped. I'm very hyped, but it's like, you got to be cautious with these you know? Fallout's not our series anymore, it's not made for us, it's not made with us in mind, it's made with those normies in mind. And speaking of, Todd Howard said it, he said the next game will be referencing the show, and the events of that show will either be happening or had happened. Now it could just be building further upon the lore or references to the events, you know, like every other Fallout game does, but something tells me it's going to be a lot more than that. I ain't going to be surprised if characters from the show are showing up and being like main characters to the story or something. You already know you're going to have the Brotherhood being in massive control, like the strongest faction out there. Like it or not, end of the day, power armor is great for marketing, so to them that means making them way bigger than ever intended. But I digress. Let me know in the comments what you think to Avellone's tweet. I'm sure this one's going to upset some losers. Alright, much love. Have it.